is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake's
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic. Yeah, with Jake and Tyler.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Busted Lip.
Nice.
That was really good. We didn't even plan that. That's just what it sounded like.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Jake, and we like long walks on the beach and Cosmos.
And shakes.
Yeah.
Got another shake today.
This is episode 101. Very special.
I feel like, I feel like really spent.
A woman?
After last week's.
Man, I feel like...
Man, I feel like a man. I feel like a woman.
That's what I feel like. But yeah, go ahead, continue.
No, I do. I feel like after last week's at 100, I'm just like,
You just blew your load?
kinda, you know?
Yeah, well.
You know, we get. Hey, listen, the cucks never rest.
Jeez.
What?
Wow. Well, once again, this is a charity event.
Those right-wing jackasses never rest, and neither should we.
Yes, Tyler, you're right. We should never rest, but... Well, we're happy to be here once again, second week in a row.
Thanks for telling me that we weren't recording just now when I was just going off about stuff.
Jesus.
I didn't say anything important, but it was like, oh.
You just said we're recording. We're live, dude. This is not recorded at all. This is for those people
Start
in
it over then.
attendance. No.
Start it over.
Anyway, 101. It does feel weird
Hang on a second.
on the other side of 100.
Listen, we're doing this live, but it is recorded.
I
so
know.
that
That's
people
why
can
I'm
listen
messing
to
with
it later.
Yeah, I'm joking.
So shut the fuck up.
I'm joking. God.
No more
You will it,
beers
man.
for Jake.
All your love and
No more
compassion
booze.
went into episode 100, and then after that, you're just like, fuck Jake. Fuck this show. I can't believe
always kind and compassionate, which is why it's like...
And you're over there thinking...
I'll drink your blood.
Kinda.
Really?
A little bit.
You know how much you'd have to pay for that, though?
A lot.
$1 million, bitch.
Yeah, I don't know why you gotta add the bitch in there. That's not nice.
I'll eat your ass.
Okay.
So let me ask
you. Eat my ass, I drink your blood.
So if you were at a bar and some chick just walks up and says...
I'll eat your ass.
You're in? 100%? I feel like that's... Yeah, you can hear the applause. It's a pretty common.
Never been propositioned at a bar by
And
a
you
girl,
say...
So I don't know.
And then you say, none of these work.
Well, I think I have, maybe. I don't know.
You say, I'm about to...
Then beat that beaver. Wow. Oh, my Lord.
I like the guy. I always love the guy in the corner. It sounds like he's just a dude in the corner, like... Yeah,
Like at the
nice.
party, you heard
Yeah.
that, and he's like...
Or he's sweeping up. I heard that.
Anyway, what are we talking about today?
Some stuff.
Stuff. You know what we're talking about? We're talking about a couple of things. We're talking about San Diego Comic-Con. We're talking about The Flash's terrible box office and some bad news for Across the Spider-Verse in the sense of I feel bad because it's a really good movie, and it sucks that people had to go through some shit to make that movie. So that's what we'll mostly be talking about tonight. Let's just jump into it. I think... Let me set the stage for you, Tyler. Let me take you on a journey, okay?
Well, Fran and Frank set the stage for us. Oh, you mean metaphorically?
This guy over here.
Brilliant.
So anyway, you don't really... We've talked about it on the show. You don't really play video games. I do. And I've been playing video games since I was like 11 or 12. So I've been playing them for a while.
Where are you going with this?
I'm setting the stage, dude. I'm fucking being a storyteller. But every summer they would have this thing called E3 that was where they would just show off all the games that are coming out in the fall and winter and all that stuff. Yeah. It was a really fun time because it was always like in the middle of June, and I wasn't at school at that time, so I was able to watch all the press conferences live as they were happening, and like there's just so much hype behind that, and that's a similar thing with San Diego Comic-Con. That's what I think about in this situation, because E3 is essentially dead. It doesn't really exist anymore because even before COVID, companies were pulling out of it, and they found out, like Nintendo and PlayStation kind of figured out, like, hey, why are we paying money to do something like this where we could just throw our own press conferences and have our own events? And like, we don't even need to have an event space. We could just put it on YouTube or whatever. And I think, given the news that Marvel, Lucasfilm, Sony, HBO, and Netflix are skipping San Diego Comic-Con this year, it makes me think two things. One of them is that it's a dying thing, and two, it's gonna go back to being about comic books.
I have a
think?
third thought.
Sure.
Maybe I can actually get a fucking ticket.
Well, yeah, they won't have the big Hall H announcements.
Here's my thing is I'm fine with that. For a long time now, the San Diego Comic-Con has been it's ridiculous compared to what it was. People got involved and wanted to make some money, and they fucked it all up, dude. And as soon as there's a company called Mile High Comics in Denver.
Yeah.
They're one of the biggest national comic book shops across the country. I mean, they used to do, mail order shit in Marvel. They had like a contract with them and stuff. They've been going to the San Diego Comic-Con for 35 years, and like 3 years ago, they made the announcement that they were no longer going because the shitheads who were running San Diego Comic-Con had jacked their prices up so much that even they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, and it's
so yeah, dipshit. Oh, gay. It's just, you know what? It's ironic that something like Netflix and Max, both who have this problem with their shareholders and this unsustainable, we gotta always top our previous quarter earnings.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with streaming. It's the same thing with San Diego Comic-Con. They kept jacking it up and shit. And after a while, nobody's gonna be able to afford to go, even people who are rich.
Well, I think a lot of these companies
drove people away.
Well, I think and like I was saying, that's why I see such parallels between what's happened to E3 and what's happening here. Where, and let's be honest, San Diego Comic-Con has been around for a long time.
It sucks for fans.
It was mostly a comic, these conventions. I mean,
I'd say about 20 years ago when it started really being.
Yeah, but it mostly be about books and going and yeah, you'd have celebrity appearances, but they're like what they do at these smaller local cons.
MCU has a lot to do with it too because they started doing their Hall H stuff, and that was like the big deal.
Yeah, you would get announcements, but
and then every movie studio was doing Hall H shit,
And that's the thing,
which is cool. I thought. I knew I'd never get in to see it because it's ridiculous.
But we don't need it anymore. Yeah, they've got D23. They don't need it anymore.
Okay.
This is what I'm getting at.
Sure.
It's like because COVID was a great opportunity for all these companies to reconsider their business models because they're people weren't going to the movies, so they're not making the billion-dollar franchises. And I think especially Warner Brothers right now, with what's happened with The Flash, but we'll get to that, I think they're starting to realize that COVID didn't just change their business model, it changed everybody's way of life in some ways. Because we do this show, and there's some movies that I really want to talk about on the show, but I'm selective. Like, my wife, granted we have a kid, but my wife doesn't really like going to the movies anymore because she knows in a couple months it'll be on streaming somewhere.
We were just talking about.
So that's why you're seeing these big dips, I think. And I think that a lot of these companies are not making the earnings they were, so they're going to stop doing things like San Diego Comic-Con. And yeah, it sucks because just like E3, it's that hype. It's that feeling of like, it's something to be excited to be like, oh, because there's so many great examples because Marvel has done so many awesome Hall H ones. And
my God, yes.
When they brought out the cast for the fucking Avengers movie and they had Loki in character there, like that was fun.
That was cool as shit.
Yeah.
And then it just sucks, man, because like the fans are what it should always be about to me.
Yeah.
Being a fan,
but they are products. Yeah, that's what sucks.
It sucks. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna start seeing. I'm surprised that movie studios are still reporting, box offices like they are. Like, well, the first weekend and then did it. It's like you guys got to adjust and start figuring out that you have basically one weekend to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
You basically do, anymore. Am I right?
But
Rise of the Beasts had a good opening, right? But they dropped off huge.
It's because people are being selective.
Yes.
Because inflation is hurting everyone, and it's hard. And we've talked about this before. It's hard.
Yeah, it is.
For a family, an average family, and you and I have talked about it. I've skipped. I would have liked to see that Transformers movie.
Me too.
But the shit's expensive, and I just don't have the money for it. Like
we've already been.
And by the way,
5?
by the way, what we're bitching about is us being in Iowa and being in the Midwest. It's so much worse in California.
Oh, in Denver,
yeah, ticket
when
everything
I went
else.
to movies in Denver, it was so much more expensive. Yeah, and. You know, and we actually have a luxury. We could probably go on Fridays and get tickets. You know what I mean? Like
we don't have to really reserve
there's
tickets.
There never was a huge movie going audience in Des Moines before COVID, and now it's just dead. You know
but you know what's funny? When the MCU is at its peak and hitting its stride in Phase 3 and all that stuff leading up to Infinity War, those places were fucking packed.
Yes.
But now,
but
Marvel is so used to that because they had so many hits, one after the other, just all this money. And now, you could argue there's fatigue. Yeah. I think that's there. I think that's a factor. But again, things.
I saw the Honest trailers for Love and Thunder today, and it was so fucking spot on. That. The more I am away from that movie, the more I realize how much of a piece of garbage it is.
I actually like that movie. I don't care. I'll go on a whole thing about it. I urge you
to watch the Honest
about
trailer
your
about
criticisms of that movie. I enjoyed it, and I don't need to justify my liking
I'm
of
not
it.
asking you to. I just think
I want to talk about
it for you to check out the Honest trailer for it because it's pretty spot on.
I want to talk about Comic-Con. Because that's what the topic is, you son of a bitch. But I want to keep talking about this because
I've always wanted to go, but I knew I'd never be able to get tickets. And
another point: DC fandom. DC did their own thing. Like all these companies realize they don't need these trade shows as a direct access to you or me.
Sometime.
No, it's a fucking Disney event. You know that shit's gonna be way overpriced.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sucks.
I'm sorry, I'm the worst with that stuff.
No, you're right.
I don't because we are in an era where Disney's got D23. Warner Brothers has already created a precedence with DC fandom, so they could bring that back whenever they want. Sony. Now, some of these I think are like Lucasfilm not being there and like not showing off Star Wars stuff. I also guess I can understand that because you have May the 4th. But what about Netflix? What about HBO? Like you said, you would think the company, especially when Warner Brothers is selling off $500 million worth of their properties, I don't think they're going to be able to make that.
They're selling off?
Yeah. 500 million. They're giving away a license. Like they're like migrating.
How do we buy that?
We're not going to be able to afford that. But I think it's more of like a licensing thing when they're making that as well.
I just don't think there's like a $5,000 character
by the way,
that we could own
buy that,
and turn into a cash cow for your son.
Tyler, it's a bad buy because that
is it?
If somebody were to take that $500 million deal and buy all that shit, they would still be like $49 billion in debt. Like Warner Brothers is one of the worst run fucking entertainment companies in the world. Good God.
Yeah.
And they are killing a over 100-year-old fucking movie studio because of decades of terrible decisions. And I just don't understand it. And so I know why they can't be there because they can't fucking afford it. But Netflix. You would think they would try and do something to get back in people's graces, because I think a lot of people are still fucking mad about the $8 shit. I don't know. It's sad. I agree with you. It's fun to be a fan of something and have something to look forward to.
Yes.
And yeah,
I've been to 2 conventions this year alone.
Yeah.
And like,
it's just nice to be around other nerds. Okay, that's really what it is. That's what it's all about. Being around other cool people.
Yeah, cool people.
I want to cosplay. We should, if we do another con, or when we do another con, we should cosplay.
What are we going?
That's why you do it.
What are we going?
No, I just don't figure your own thing out.
No, we should do a team one. Or why should we?
Stupid idea. I'll be an off panel and you be an off topic. I like how I just shoot your idea down. No, I agree with you, but I'm Batman. You're
Somebody's got gas and it ain't me and you, Cooper.
farting.
You smell that?
No,
Is that me?
It hasn't reached me yet.
That was me. I'm sorry. No, seriously.
I'm joking with you.
About this. What would we be? What could we go as Mario and Luigi?
But you're right. All these movies.
We could go as Mario and Luigi.
You're right. We could probably afford it now because all these companies pulling out. The tickets are probably cheap. I mean, we'd have to get a flight to San Diego, but we could do it.
I'm surprised I got a B&B in Iowa City over the 4th of July.
Batman and Robin.
$150 and less.
That's what we're doing. I'm Batman. You're Robin.
No.
Shit.
The only second fiddle I will be with you is Mario and Luigi.
Let's be Midnight.
We could be Han and Luke.
Let's be the Midnight. Isn't there like a Midnight Men team? Or is that a movie with Ben Stiller?
The Mystery Men?
There was like a Midnight Men. I could have swore.
No.
I'm looking this up. I need to find this out.
So
Just because, if not, I want to steal that name. That's really.
Well, it's famous. We could be like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Oh, come on.
What?
That's ridiculous.
How about we could be Rain Man? We could be Rain Man.
Oh, it's a thing.
What?
It's a Marvel thing.
What? Midnight?
Midnight Man.
What is that?
It's a Marvel book.
Okay, what's in it?
I don't know.
Why? Okay.
I'm just trying to. It was because I was trying so I could steal it. But somebody else.
We could go as like Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider and Danny Ketch Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah. How would we do that?
Well, you're shooting everything down.
You should be Jay and I'll be Silent Bob. It's the easiest one.
Sounds good.
Just wear a backwards hat and a trench coat, and you just wear a wig and a beanie, and there you go.
Schnickty, schnickty, schnoid, schnoid.
Snoochie boochie.
Snoochie boochies.
There you go. We just did it. San Diego Comic Con. Here we go. I hope one day we're big enough we could have off-panel off-con.
Off-panel, off-topic conventions?
No, off-panel off-con.
Okay.
Branding!
Brandon!
Let's go, no.
Brandon!
You know what I thought about when I saw that on a car I drove by recently? It's like, how are you going to explain that in like 20 years?
What, let's go, Brandon?
Yeah.
No, I saw something really stupid.
That's why it's
oh my god, it was so stupid.
But,
oh no, this guy was driving like a jackass in front of me, and he had this "Let's Go Brandon" sticker, and I just wanted to yell at him like, not only you are driving like a jackass, but you're also a gigantic pussy. Just say "fuck Biden," you fucking pussy. Okay, sorry.
What?
Okay, let's go.
I got what I paid for.
Yeah, you fucking did. This is a free podcast. Okay,
free
so
for you.
free podcast.
Yeah. So to wrap things up, it sucks, but it was bound to happen, given the fact that all these companies could just throw their own events. So it's cheaper for them. So.
Also, let's be honest. Capitalism. All of you who just love it.
Especially late stage.
This is what it does to fandom, dude. This is what it does. The more popular something is, the more they can make of it, and then it's just an avalanche, and that makes it really hard for the small guys to survive. Make no mistake, you have this really stupid, this bullshit idea that America is all about small business. Bullshit. All right, so San Diego Comic-Con, all these people pulling out of it, all these big names. I just have to say, go fuck yourself, SDCC. You guys made your bed, and now you have to lay in it.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted. You fucking were charging $50,000 for a weekend for a fucking comic company, a comic shop out of Denver. And they said, fuck you. And guess what? Now Marvel and Lucasfilm and HBO Max and all these other ones are saying, fuck you too. Now where are you going to get your 9th yacht, you fucking rich piece of shit? I don't have any sympathy for the runners of San Diego Comic-Con. I have sympathy for the fans who are probably not going to have one of those in a couple years.
Hey, the people that run SDCC.
You are nothing but garbage, yeah. Nothing but garbage, Green.
Because the people who run it they're gonna shut it down. Why would they keep doing it?
Let's talk about bad decisions. We mentioned Warner Brothers and the debt they're in and the bad decisions they've made. We've talked about how the box office has changed post-COVID. Things are not looking good for The Flash. The Flash dropped 72% in its second weekend to only bring in $15.3 million domestically, giving it $87.6 million domestic total, which is really bad because this. You know how much this movie was made for? $200 million. And so, if we were to play the game of like you got to make back your budget, but also a little bit more with marketing because of how much money goes into marketing a movie. So it's like, I mean, ideally,
so 200
to break even, they probably would have had to make close to $500 million.
Probably,
and they're gonna fall well short of that. Especially, but it's like you just said earlier. This game we're playing now is you have to get the most audience possible in your first weekend. Because which Guardians of the Galaxy is a great example. Unless it's, hear me out, Tyler. Unless it's a good movie that people want to see, like Guardians of the Galaxy, that one stands out because however you may have felt about Quantumania or Love and Thunder or whatever, go back even further. Multiverse of Madness, that made almost $1 billion. People were interested in that. But Thor dips. And then you see Quantumania dip, and you see all these other The reason is, we have created this idea of, see it now because we live in the fucking spoiler culture. That's one of the problems, is if you're...
Yeah, but do we anymore?
If you're interested...
It's so easy to avoid spoilers. I'm serious. I haven't had Facebook on my phone in over a year. And if I'm on Twitter, I don't know, I just don't follow the people who spoil. I'm just saying.
It's not hard to get spoiled. My point is that.
Really?
Yes.
Still, what the fuck are you... how the hell...
because I'm more active on Twitter because I follow more movie dudes on
fault,
Twitter.
Isn't it?
Yeah, whatever. Point is, they have it's an environment that if it doesn't get great reviews, it doesn't get a good box office.
Well,
that movie is bound to fail.
And that shit is fucking hurt shit too with that whole crap.
I think it's a good resource if you like to read.
But as soon as
if you like to read critiques that are from actual movie critics,
right,
and that can inform your opinion.
As soon as movie studios started using them in their trailers, 99% tomato meter
certified
reading.
fresh.
Yes, as soon as they started doing that, then they had all those bots and like those campaigns.
Well, and then you get chuds. You get those kind of bots. You get chuds, and it messes with the audience score.
God.
But that's the thing.
I love and I hate the internet.
There's so many reasons to talk about why The Flash failed, and I do. But I think in general, before I even get to The Flash, I'm just saying, especially superhero movies, it's an environment now where if you don't make a pretty solid movie and it doesn't have good word of mouth and response from an audience, it can fail. I liked Quantumania. I didn't think it was bad, but it got a lot of negative reviews and it got a lot of flack from fans. And look, I'll be honest, post Endgame, Marvel hasn't been that good. It's had some hits, but it's had a lot of misses. And despite how you feel about Love and Thunder, I actually enjoy it. So
I like the overall message of it, but
it's too silly. That's what Hemsworth says.
I've always thought that there was, I've always kind of had a little bit of something stuck in my craw ever since I saw the movie. And I know I was just fucking around on YouTube and I was watching honest trailers. I watched the one for, God, what the fuck was it? Love and Thunder was one of them. And it was, the end was like, finding chemo. But it made some really good points. Some of those, if you watch those, honest trailers, some of them make some good points while they're making jokes. The reason why they're so funny is it's because it's like, well, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And they kept showing all these, they show all the examples of like, let's have jokes about Thor fucking his weapon. And it's like, yeah, that was weird.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Fucking weirdo.
Yeah. All right. That's fine.
No, there...
Well, there's multiple reasons to talk. Well, let's kind of...
I liked Christian Bale's performance.
Let's kind of...
Gore was underused, and now he's dead again, like another fucking villain that was compelling.
Well, I think Marvel.
Do we really want Chris
Marvel
Hemsworth for a sixth?
I think Marvel's
movie?
fine because
Or fifth?
the 2 times they didn't really kill off a villain, they've had some problems legally. So,
Which?
because Namor got in trouble. There, I don't know if it was the
Huerta?
R word, but it might have been possible sexual harassment or something to that effect. Sexual assault. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know the thing. And now we're seeing more with Jonathan Majors as that develops. Again,
What's going on with that?
I don't know anymore, man. I'm sure we'll find out more. I think it's going to trial. There's some sort of trial that's taking place. I don't know. But I bring that up as a joke because it's like the few times that Marvel does recurring characters, they do some shitty things in their personal life. That is a big factor with the Flash.
Yeah.
Because, like it or not, I guarantee there are people that did not see this movie because of what Ezra Miller did. And you know what? Good power to them. I think that's fine. If you personally don't want to support that person, that's totally your prerogative. Good for you, man. But I watched it because I'm a dirty consumer.
No, we talked about this many times.
We almost didn't.
We've talked about Led Zeppelin and all that shit. I bring that one up every time, and again, a whole lot of lovin' comes on the radio. I don't necessarily think about that.
Such a good song.
You know what I mean? Like I just But
I know.
But then like when we went and saw Flash last weekend, I don't think I thought about.
God, that was last weekend.
I know time's spinning out of control.
I can't believe that movie's been out for 2 weeks.
But when we saw it, I don't think at one point. I'm sure I did at one point, at least. I'm sure, but it was definitely not like a main focus of my mind that they're a piece of shit human being.
Yeah,
I just was trying to watch the movie and enjoy it for what it was.
But I think that definitely played a factor.
But yeah, I can see why people didn't. I'm just saying I was able to.
I don't think that's
overlook that. I guess
I don't think that's the number one reason why this movie failed. But I
it's
think
got to be a part of it.
Financially flopped because that has got to be a factor in it. And again, I understand it. I think another problem of it was how over fucking hyped this movie is. And DC is so guilty of this. I've talked about it before. Standing ovation in the boardroom. They fucking watched Batman v Superman. And then every fucking DC movie that comes out, it's the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. No.
Didn't we talk about how I don't give a fuck what a boardroom of fucking douchebags thinks about a fucking movie?
Or the fact that you have celebrity...
I don't give a shit if they shat in their hands and threw it at the screen.
It doesn't seem authentic if you have Stephen King tweeting about this movie because he saw a pre-screening of it. So it's like it doesn't say ad or anything on his tweet, but there has to be some sort of exchange here. Like, oh, you can see this movie for free, but you have to say good things about it on Twitter. Like, there was so much of that going into it, and you could tell Warner Brothers was trying so fucking desperately to make this movie be a success and put all this shit behind it. Say it's one of the best superhero movies ever. It's like, stop the hyperbole. Like, is it a good movie? I enjoyed it, yes, but it's not the best fucking superhero movie I've ever seen. And you know what?
Not even the best one this year. Seriously, Fury of the Gods is still my top this year. Well, Spider-Verse was pretty good.
Spider-Verse is, number one for me.
But Fury of the Gods was surprisingly close.
Well, Guardians 3 was really good.
Yeah. Okay, forget what I just said.
Well, you know what we should do?
Completely forget what I just said.
Before Blue Beetle comes out, we should do a ranking of like best comic book movies this year. Wait, no, we'll save that for the Apatis.
How about the Apatis?
Yes. Or we could just do it whenever. I don't care.
We should rank the DCEU movies right now.
I don't want to, because I hate them. Well, okay, back to that. Back to The Flash.
Back to the Future?
Another reason this movie failed is because I don't necessarily...
Eric Stoltz.
Yes. Well, because, and I think this hurt Fury of the Gods as well. while we were excited for the future with what James Gunn could do with the DC universe, we were all like, oh, so these next couple movies aren't going to matter at all. Like, we already knew that Snyder's universe was pretty much dead, or the DCEU is pretty much dead.
Right.
But to have him come out in January and make announcements about his plans, and then just say, well, these movies exist because Shazam is off doing his own thing, but Flash resets the whole universe, and because, whatever. And that makes people feel a certain way. And then the Henry Cavill thing, and so, look, the Snyder Cult people were not going to support this, so that's a whole sect of fandom that's just stupid. But
mostly bots.
This brand has been significantly damaged. And again, it goes back to Warner Brothers as a whole. Decades of really stupid decisions have led them to this point. And they have been riding the coattails of these properties that they own. And now they're finally starting to see what happens when you turn out content and you don't turn out art.
When you treat your fucking awesome characters like dirt and shit. And property be bought and sold
and that's not
at a fucking auction.
And I'm not.
That's what's gonna happen. The fans are gonna turn on you. You can't treat my Batman that way all the fucking time.
But here's the thing. Whether video games are super popular, comic books are doing great.
Video game.
No, I'm kidding. My broader point is, no matter what, movies are still how you're going to reach the widest audience.
Yes.
Always. It's going to be the biggest pop culture thing for these characters. So when you continue, because there's going to be people that watch Batman movies that don't pick up a Batman comic book. My dad watched those Batman movies, never read a Batman comic in his life. You know what I mean? You're still going to have those people.
I wonder what that's like.
And so every time you serve them shit, what makes you think they're going to come back? Because you again are riding the coattails of your brand, and then you also come to find out that maybe the Flash isn't as popular as you thought. Because the Flash is great, and when it's done well, a really good character. But I'm sorry, the Flash ain't Batman. He ain't Superman, and he ain't Wonder Woman. I'm sorry.
No.
And you know what? If this did flop, good fucking luck with Blue Beetle. Good luck if you make any fucking money with that character.
Yeah. Here's the issue is
that sucks because I don't like seeing these comic book characters fail.
You gotta know who you are, okay? Now you can't you can't take a Flash fan very seriously, and here's why. No. Like a diehard, like the Flash is the best superhero ever. You can't, and here's why. Because they're deluding themselves, okay?
You can only tell so many stories with the Flash.
I mean, yeah, right? I mean, no matter how you slice it, no matter how much you love the Flash, you cannot... If you have to make the mental gymnastics to say in your head that he's like better or more popular than Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman, then you've already lost. You know what I mean?
And I'm not saying there aren't Flash fans out there.
There are, and they're fucking super irritating.
And I'm sure there's some really good Flash books too. I'm not saying there aren't.
No, I'm saying like the people who are... And Green Lantern, same thing. Martian Manhunter,
I love
whatever.
Green Lantern, you fuck. I get your point.
Right? Okay.
It's not the Trinity.
The point is if you like a comic character like a lot, like I love Captain America, but I know that in the comics he's basically B level because you got X-Men and like all these ones up here and Spider-Man. Yeah. Captain America's like right here. Iron Man's down here. The only reason Iron Man's anything is because of Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
No, Robert Downey Jr. That's the only reason.
Because they made him look like him and act like him in the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Guardians of the Galaxy, again, James Gunn takes a property that is largely like, what the fuck is this? And just turns it into something great. And my point is
I hope Blue Beetle could do that.
My point is there aren't enough Blue Beetle fucking fans out there. And even the diehard ones can only go see it maybe once or twice. And that's not enough. And
It's like, okay, so this is...
How far along was Blue Beetle in the process before James Gunn took over?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, if there was a chance to put a stop to it, he should have. Because that's more money wasted. I mean, this company is run by just people.
Hey, by the way,
piss
Tyler,
money, dude.
Tyler. So Here's another fun
Into
fact
the toilet.
about this movie. $200 million budget, right? Batgirl had a $90 million budget.
Right?
I don't care if that movie
Let's
sucked.
Trash that.
And they're saying it sucked.
For
It was really bad.
purposes.
Okay, but these same people are saying that Batgirl was really terrible are the same executives that were
Who's
saying this was the
standing
best
ovation.
fucking movie. Exactly.
You know why they were standing up? Because they were like, well, that looks like $200 million worth of shit.
But like I said earlier, Warner Brothers fucking did this to themselves. I don't feel at all upset.
Fuck them.
Do I feel bad for the director? Do I feel bad for the writer? Am I fucking bummed that
All the people
we
that
might
worked
not
on
ever
it for
get to
9
see?
years.
We got to see Keaton return as Batman, and we might not get to see that ever again. But like
Still pretty badass though.
because I saw the rumor that Kevin Smith shared that if Flash would have made money and been successful, they were going to do a Batman Beyond movie like with Keaton, and we're never going to see that now. But that's fine. It's fine.
Maybe we will.
It's Batman. That's the thing. The Flash. I don't think you get it yet, people. I gotta keep driving that through. The Flash is not Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman. Those are your tent poles. And I'm not saying make everything Batman or Superman or Wonder Woman. No, I am just saying there's a reason Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman made money. There's a reason that fucking the Batman made all that money. People care about these characters. And again, I want to reiterate. Yes, you're right. There are fans of the Flash and love the Flash. There are characters that I love in comics that, whatever. But yeah, you're right.
You're aware that they're not.
Yes. And you know what? The best Flash movie they made had to bring in 2 Batmen.
I was just gonna say,
cameo
hey, Flash
from-
fans. Hey, Flash fans. Just want to ask you a big question.
Flashpoint.
You're super popular. They called it the Flash and everything, and it's basically based off of a huge company-wide like comic book crossover that involved almost the entire DC universe. So it wasn't just about the Flash. So dang on you there.
Dude.
And then second, if Flash is so great, how come when you finally make a solo Flash movie, you have to bring in
Michael Keaton as Batman.
as Batman, Ben Affleck as Batfleck. You have to bring in an alternate universe,
A
fucking Supergirl, which I love her.
I hope they make a movie of her character. I like her character.
I would love it if she is the one who plays because they're making a Supergirl.
Well, oh yeah, her as Woman of Tomorrow.
That's what I was
That would be
thinking
nice.
when they started showing the trailer.
James,
I was like, cool.
James,
we could write it for you.
You're listening.
We could write it for you.
No, Tom King did it, but yeah.
No, I mean we could write the movie. We could do a treatment of the movie, and then somebody who's more.
Yes, 2 unproven podcasters.
Hey, how did James Gunn start out? As an unproven film director?
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
That's inspiring.
Wasn't he?
Monday motivation, everybody.
Hang on a second. I guarantee you, if we
He
talked
worked
to
with
James,
Trauma.
Great, but I guarantee you, if we talked to James Gunn and said, "Hey, when you were starting out, did anybody fucking know who you were?" I guarantee he's gonna be honest and say, "Nope, nobody fucking knew. I had to make my own name." So this is how I'm making my name, James, by bugging the shit out of you to give me a job to save Warner Brothers. Damn it!
I don't know if I've said it on this show, but I said it
Can I
on.
yell a little more?
Yeah, on Drawn to DC when we covered the Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest Flash stories this past decade was Jeff Johns' Flashpoint, and like you were saying, really, it's more about Thomas Wayne Batman, especially in that movie, and it's a lot more about everything that happened around the Flash, like Aquaman being a warlord and Wonder Woman being this like conquering empress.
It's
like
basically an Elseworld story.
That's it.
Dude.
That's what it is, and it was a way to reset.
And the Flash
everything.
is the central character, but that doesn't make him the star of the fucking story.
This
dude.
movie is more about the Flash than
the Flashpoint
Yes,
Paradox.
yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I agree with you. And even then, it didn't make money. But it's not. I don't.
You know what the coolest thing about the Flash is, honestly? Most of these secondary characters in DC, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman have almost always been Clark Kent, or have always been Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Diana
Diana Prince.
whatever, right? Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You've had Alan Scott. You've had Guy Gardner. Hal
Wally
Jordan.
West.
You've had
Barry Allen. Yeah.
Yes.
Mantles.
That's kind of cool about the Flash, actually. I kind of like.
That's what I liked about Green Lantern. Is
Yes.
There's a you can be a Hal Jordan Green Lantern fan, or you could be a Jon Stewart or Guy Gardner. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, see, so
you can like Wally West, or you can like Barry Allen.
But that doesn't make you on the same fucking tier as fucking Batman.
Also, yes, we've had where Dick Grayson's been Batman in the comics and stuff like that. But what you just said, the tent poles are there. You have to have a Wonder Woman. You have to have a Batman. You have to have a Superman.
Bruce Wayne is still in the story.
They are
is
the
he not?
constants.
Even if Dick Grayson is being Batman, is Bruce Wayne still in the story somehow? Yes. He's at the Batcave.
We made a fucking Punisher Batman named Thomas Wayne in this Flash story because we have to. Oh, what's going on with Superman? We need him. He's our big gun.
Yeah, what's going on with him, man?
Honestly, I hate to say it, I kind of like the evil version of Wonder Woman a little bit more.
See,
I like it when she's like a conquering war goddess. You know what I mean?
My favorite, who wrote the Flash for Jeff Johns?
Yes.
My favorite thing is that Jeff sat down and he said, "How do we make Batman different?" And with just one
Let him kill
difference.
people.
No.
It's Thomas instead of Bruce.
One difference. Instead of his parents getting killed, what if Bruce gets killed? How would his Thomas would be Batman and she would. That is so cool. That is such a great to me. That's such a great twist on the legendary and incredible Batman story. It's so incredible because it's so universal and it's largely remained unchanged. But when you just change that one moment, that one thing, and you can build all that story out of that one difference. That's why I love the What If books from Marvel and the Elseworlds
and
stuff.
comics have always done that. And
we were talking about canon earlier.
Well, yeah, because these characters exist for hundreds of years, and there's so many different writers. It's and that's one of the things we loved about Across the Spider-Verse. We were just saying, yeah, canon's kind of dumb. We should.
Canon event.
Canon is dumb because it always gets reset.
Yes.
It always gets changed. How many times has DC fucking rebooted itself?
And how much you want to bet that in the next movie, the next Spider-Verse movie, that they show that Miles doesn't need his canon event or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And what is that going to say? That just because it's canon in somebody else's story or whatever doesn't mean it has to be canon in this story?
Speaking of Spider-Verse, next topic. Look at that transition.
Speaking of Spider-Verse, you bastard.
Spider-Verse, by the way,
Phil Lord.
Spider-Verse, its fourth week, by the way, retook the box office. So that's how the Flash is dealing with right now. Oh, and another thing, Tyler, you wanted to mention that Asteroid City was going to beat the Flash this week.
Yeah.
So hey, if you get the right director, you don't need to make a superhero.
And Transformers. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Well, all right. So Spider-Verse, #1 this week once again. But that's great. But we don't want to talk about the good things here. We're gonna have to talk about the bad things. Which, what I said earlier, it complicates my relationship with this movie because it was a great movie and a wonderful movie. But then you see what happened to the people that worked on it, and you're like, but at what fucking cost?
Right.
And we've talked about, this is the problem when these properties when these big companies have these properties, and then they just treat, they don't treat people like people. They treat them as you are a cog in the machine and you will do as I say, as like you're this fucking robot. So some animators that worked on Spider-Verse, this is from The Verge, I think it was originally in Variety, but there was a report of some people that spoke out about the movie. So some animators were, quote, pushed to work more than 11-hour days, 7 days a week at certain points.
That's fucked up.
Fuck you, man. People have lives, and people have a right to be with their friends or their family. Fuck you.
Yeah. Do animators not have a union?
No. Shit. No, you know what's funny? The more I read this, I'm like, visual effects artists and animators need to fucking unionize, and they need to strike. Matter of fact, shut the whole fucking thing down. And you know what? Hollywood's getting there at this point. And you're just like saying, Jake, how you love movies? And I'm like, no. Here's the thing. Everything's got a limit, and that limit is a human cost. If there's human cost that comes into anything that I enjoy or any piece of thing of it, anything, that's the limit. We need to fucking push back and stop. 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 Because you know who controls this shit, and this is why I support the strikes, and this is why I think they should strike. Because you know who controls it? Not fucking Amy Pascal, not fucking Bob Iger, or some stupid fucking David Zaslav. You do. Because you're the artist. They're just giving you money. They have no fucking artistic ability.
Can I offer a counterpoint? You said if there's a human cost, then it's not worth it. Did you enjoy the Lord of the Rings movies?
Yes.
Did you know that when Aragorn kicked his helmet in the first one, that he actually hurt his foot?
Yeah.
That's human cost.
Shit.
And you still like that.
Fuck. And I buy Nike. And they have sweatshops.
Killed like 4 horses on that fucking set.
My point is, if that means I can't watch fucking TV, like new content or new TV or whatever, new streaming, so be it.
This is where I rock, because I can
watch old shit all the time.
Over and over again. I can watch news radio. I can watch Just Shoot Me. I can watch Rules of Engagement.
Dude, I got a PlayStation 5. I can fucking play
Rules of Engagement is really problematic.
I can play D&D.
A lot of ways.
No, but more on this Spider-Verse stuff. I had to get on a soapbox there because I am kind of sick of it. I am sick of seeing these reports of people being mistreated because these companies are too fucking lazy. Hey, Marvel, maybe hire an animation studio so you don't have to, or maybe work with some of these studios and bring them in-house and do like you did with Pixar and buy these fucking studios so they have the resources so they're not constantly bidding and you're going outside sources. Oh, wait, they want to save money because these billion-dollar companies need to save fucking money. So anyway, according to a number of... This also bothers me a little bit. According to a number of artists who contributed to the movie, that the working conditions were made to operate under during the film's production were unsustainable, erratic, and largely the result of producer Phil Lord frequently overriding across the Spider-Verse's 3 directors in order to make endless last-minute changes. Which is troubling, because I like Phil Lord and Chris Miller. See, I think it's because... Now, they worked on the Lego movie, but... I think most of their stuff is live action. Yeah. And I think that's a problem when people are used to making live action movies versus animated because, as we've talked before...
Well, see, did we hear anything about animators on Lego Movie, or were they not big enough to make these kind of...
Well, they made a big deal when this came out that they hired literally thousands of artists to work on this movie. And hundreds of them quit because of working conditions. So maybe
that's why they hired thousands just in case.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Ominous.
But still, having some of your I understand you have to hit a deadline, but crunch is not good, and
unless it's in a cereal.
Exactly. High five. Yeah, that's what you get. That's why you come to these shows.
That's why you come to these shows. Hey, knock it off back there.
Quit it. Whatever you're doing.
Stop it.
I'll drink your blood.
Whoa, Alex.
Nice. What's going on in that corner over there?
That's what's going down.
All I know is that anytime... Why is the corner with the golden tea machine always so rowdy? That's what I gotta ask. I just don't understand. Just creep, yeah.
So, I do... that would be my explanation, is it's easier to make last-minute changes and reshoots and things like that in live action, whereas animation, you have to plan everything out. You've got to go through, different layers of different animators who are doing a specific thing. So here's a quote from the person that worked on the movie. They are obviously in charge of directing, but if Phil has a note that contradicts their note, his note takes precedence. They have to do what Phil says. So this was the directors of the movie, by the way. So there were constant changes and cuts with Phil Lord.
They're referring to the
directors of the movie.
Yeah,
yes.
Somebody else.
They had to
just the way you said it. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, Phil Lord was the one who made the last decision. So with Phil Lord, nothing is ever final or approved. Nothing was really set in stone. Nothing is ever done. Everything was just endlessly moving beneath our feet because they wanted to be the best that it could be. End quote. Again, I think that is just... I understand creatively how that can be, because it's hard and you know this as well, it's hard to create something and then put it out in the wild because you go through so many changes and cuts and different ideas and different things. But at a certain point, you can't. You just can't do that with animation. There's a reason that those Pixar, we've talked about it before. There's a reason those Pixar movies are so good, and why there's so many. Good, because it takes so long, and there's so much storyboarding and so much work, and then to constantly have that change, and then when you're told you have to go through revision after revision before of the final cut. When you got fucking Amy Pascal who strolls in and says, "Well, welcome to show business." When you say, "Hey, we can't keep working these hours, we can't keep changing these things," and she's just like, "Well, you gotta get it done." And
I worked in TV in Denver for the Rockies organization, or for the Rockies TV station, Fox Sports Net, and we had a national football show, NFL show for 1 year. And the reason why they moved it to Denver is because it was cheaper to produce in Denver. In California, there's all unions and everything. And my job on Thursday nights was to help the editors put together all of the clips of players and stuff for the next day for the show, right? Uh-huh. Now, the producer is there until 2, 3 in the morning, making sure that everything's getting done and whatnot. Then they'll show back up at like 8 or 9 in the morning or whatever when they have to actually record the stand-ins with the 2 talents, right? And then they edit everything else together, and they have to have that by 5 p.m. It was always last minute. Why? Because at some point during that night on Thursday, the producer would bug up their ass about changing something completely. Instead of this segment that we've worked on for the last 12 hours, I'm scrapping that, and we're going to start brand new on this other segment because this guy got in a car accident. Or, you know what? This guy got fired. Or this guy is having whatever, surgery. Like, just stupid shit like that. Now, don't get me wrong. These shows turned out fucking great.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because that producer was never satisfied. I get that. But I wasn't one of the editors. All I did was I ran and got tape for them and queued up stuff so they wouldn't have to look for shit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I need 3 shots of Christian McCaffrey. He wasn't playing at the time, but just example. I need 3 shots of Christian McCaffrey scoring a rushing touchdown. Yeah. So I would look in the books for all the games so far that year, and I would find those, and I would queue these tapes up, bring them to them, and go, here you go. So they could just pop them in and edit it out, right? Yeah. I didn't mind doing that at all, because I always got to leave at like midnight, because I was a freelancer. But if I had been one of those people, I would come back the next day, and those editors had been there all night, awake, working. All night. They were still going to be working at 2 p.m. that afternoon, all the way up until we fed the fucking show to the national satellite to broadcast across the whole station.
Yep.
Up until that point. That's like 20 hours of straight up working. Again, I got to leave at midnight and come back the next day, man. I was fine. But if I wouldn't been one of those editors, they were always pissy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. So I am very, very, very well aware of how sometimes, like, I don't agree with this, and I don't necessarily agree with what happened in TV, but I understand.
Yeah, I do too.
Why.
To some extent.
It's just you have to draw a line.
Yeah.
You have to draw a line.
And you have to say, this is it. This is done. We can't keep, like, we can't do this.
Right.
We've gone this far.
You're working on that show. You know you're going to start working at like 6 p.m. on Thursday, and you're not going to be done till probably 6 p.m. Friday. But you know what? You're probably not working Saturday and Sunday. And you're probably getting paid a lot more than I am. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think
there's
again
pros and cons.
There's when you have to meet a deadline,
right?
There's going to be crunch.
Yes.
Because there could always be last minute changes, last minute fixes, things could go wrong. I'm just saying, if there's a way to minimize it,
of course,
in any way, that's what should be taken. And that's and a lot of these animators that were quite frankly exploited on this movie, because everybody gets exploited nowadays. They were saying that Sony is not going to hit that March release date of 2024, and you know what? If it means people don't go through crunch, delay the fucking movie.
I'm fine with Christmas 2024.
Delay it.
Why not? That's it.
You and I have talked about this. Most of the
We usually have
time,
to wait 2 years for a sequel.
most of the time,
for a live action
if
sequel.
something gets delayed, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that gives these people more time to work on it, and that's all
We're
they
looking
need.
at you, Flash, you fucks.
No, that's different. With 9
years. We still can't.
Tyler!
Fucking yeah.
You know what time it is?
No.
It's a long box.
What the fuck was that? Was that from last episode?
Yeah, what do you think? I thought it was pretty good. Dude. It's a long box. Anyway, the long box. Tyler, do you want to go first? What do you want to do?
Have I done clobbering time?
Did I
that
first?
thing?
Did I do first last time?
I can't remember the last time. I'll go first. But
thought you
have
were
I done
doing
the clobbering time?
Bosch.
Have I done Bosch?
I don't know.
Okay, so Bosch
I
is
tune
this,
out whenever you talk.
I really don't care. So Bosch stars this guy. I can't remember. Titus. No, he's been in the movie business forever. He's got a weird name. It's
You're off to a great start. You could do clobber in time if you want.
can't think of his name. Titus something. Titus Welliver, I think is his name. He's
Don't look at
a
me like I
character
know.
actor. He's been in a bunch of shit. Okay, so there's this book written by it's one of those characters like Jack Reacher or Jack Ryan or whatever those characters are that continue to have books written about them and stuff. They're fictional characters and whatnot. And there's this guy named Bosch, and he's an LAPD detective. And we open the series, and he happens to shoot a guy who was on his knees and started to fall. He put his hand behind himself to catch himself, and when he brought his hand back up, the cop Bosch shot him dead because he thought he had a gun. That's the beginning of the show, and then it's like 2 years later, and he's on trial, like the civil suit, and this show was on for 7 seasons on Prime. And I'm like,
7?
Yeah. And I'm like, I need something new to watch. And one of his partner played Marlowe in The Wire, so I'm a big fan of that actor, Jamie Hector. And I'm like, this is gonna be good. Let's watch this. Let's see what this is like. I like these actors. It couldn't be terrible. So I'm watching it. And have you ever seen? If you asked a 10-year-old kid, hey, what's your ideal, like, kind of like our open theme song? Like the joke is like, that's what a 10-year-old would say is like, I'm a really cool adult, like walking down the street with a handful of comic books, smoking weed, kicking ass, and drinking booze, like that's what a 10, because they've never experienced. Yeah, banging chicks. Right. It's the same thing. If you were to ask a 10-year-old, hey, if you were like the best cop ever, what would you be like? And he'd be like, well, I'd have a house up in the hills, and I'd drink scotch, and I'd dress impeccably, and I'd listen to cool jazz.
Yeah.
But I'm a tough bastard, but I got a heart of gold.
Yeah.
And this is what this fucking character is. He's on trial. He was absolved by the board. Sorry, he was absolved by the board.
Sorry.
For the shooting.
I thought you said dissolved.
It's a civil suit now, right? And it's about to be, the verdict's about to come in, right? And they show him, and he's trying to work this other case, but they show him at night, and he's at this ridiculously overpriced house that no LAPD detective can afford. So what the fuck? He drives this ridiculous car that nobody can afford. He has these tailored suits, and you're like, what the fuck? And he's like at home, and he puts on a record, and it's jazz.
Yeah.
And he's sipping scotch and looking at files. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I can't handle this bullshit nonsense like this fucking.
But Tyler, don't you want to watch Bosch?
No, I
Legacy?
don't fucking want to watch it because it's so overwrought. It's like, it's just, it's so stupid. Nobody fucking actually lives like that, and if they do, they're douchebags, and you don't want to make a story about them. And I feel bad because I know I only watched one episode, but it was like, I don't want to watch anymore. If this is your idea of what a cool guy is, and he just goes through a string of women, man. He just can't be tied. He just can't be tied down, man. He's Bosch, you know. It's like, fuck you, man. Just go to hell.
Fuck
you know,
you,
just go to hell. I don't want to watch this nonsense.
This is on since 2014. God damn.
It just got done, I believe, the whole series.
But now there's Bosch Legacy.
Oh, fuck off.
What? You don't want to watch Bosch Legacy?
Here's the thing. I'm willing to bet that if I watched a second episode, that maybe I would get a little more into it, and maybe it would change a little. But the fact that, do you get what I'm saying at all about?
Yeah, like where he's just...
Like, it's the stereotypical... It's
unrealistic.
Like, he's a homicide detective in L.A.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and he plays by his own rules. You know, it's like, shut the fuck up. Are we still doing this? With shows like The Wire that have shown us what being cops is really like, and we own this city and these other properties and stuff. Yeah. You're still giving me a grizzled, tough as nails, LAPD, homicide detective, fuck off already. Wow. Really? That's what you got? Sorry, Titus Welliver and Jamie Hector.
Crack cocaine.
I'm sure you guys had
smoke
fun.
it in that show?
I'm sure you had fun making the show, but I gotta watch the second episode just so I don't shit all over it.
You've watched one episode.
That's all I needed to. That's all. That's all I need. Every time he's at home, he's in this house in the hills and he's drinking. And then he's basically about to bone this like rookie cop. Girl or woman, which is just like, really? That's inappropriate. You're like a detective. That's inappropriate, right? And then he's a tough but he's got a heart of gold. You know, I'm not gonna let him. Sure, I killed a lot of people in the line of duty, but I'm not gonna let those bones just go away without somebody seeking justice for that person. Like, shut up. You know what I mean?
I could have stopped at any point, but I'm like, where is he going with this?
You know what I mean, right? Like, he's
Do you see him in the bedroom and you're like...
Then beat that beaver up. Wow. Oh, my Lord.
Think of the fucking comedy!
He's so angry.
I'm not... I'm tired of the whole... If you're going to be stereotypical about it, be satirical about it. And it wasn't at all. It was literally like, look at this guy. He's tough and brooding. Man, he is calm fucking plex. You know?
You want more of
pew pew quip, pew pew quip.
No, I want realism. I don't want enough with the boyhood the 10-year-old boy fantasies. You know? Oh, I'm never getting married, man.
I'm gonna fuck my way out of this situation.
I'm gonna sit at home and drink and brood. I'm like, shut up.
And then you look in the mirror and you're like,
Come on, you ace! You want to live forever?
yes. All right, my turn.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
I'm talking
My
about
turn.
Marvel's Spider-Man.
Oh, is this a video game?
Yeah, made by Insomniac Games. Available on the PS4.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm playing it on the PS5. I played it on the PS4.
Color me impressed.
Yeah, but I'm playing the remastered. Gosh, man. Playing that bad boy on 60 frames. Ooh,
Can I ask you, is that coming out? So there's another one coming out.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2.
And when is that?
October.
This year.
Yes.
So you basically upgraded your old game because no. You were just talking about 60 frames. I remember as they came out with like new iterations, they would back code like the older games.
Yeah.
And they still do that.
You
play like a PlayStation 4
play
game.
PS3 games on PS4.
Right, because they stopped doing that.
But I can play, I think, all of my PS4 games on my PS5.
That's awesome.
But also some games, not all of them. This is one thing that sucks. So I own that Spider-Man game, but I had to pay an extra $10 to play it on my PS5 because if I were to buy it new, it'd be $70, and I already paid $60. Some of it's stupid. But
so is the design of the PlayStation 5.
Some of the games, like my Guardians of the Galaxy game, I bought that on PS4. I have it on disc. I put it in my disc tray. I can play it upgraded graphics.
See, that's why I've always liked discs. When Madden
It's one of the few times I have a physical copy of a video game. It's
around 2014 or 15, Madden stopped putting instruction booklets in with the thing. They had like a little sleeve, and you were supposed to look it up online.
That went away.
I hated that
in like the PS3 era, Xbox 360 era. But anyway,
Sorry.
I playing through it again because I'm playing through this and the Miles Morales game before the second game comes out because I really, and I've said it on the podcast before, I really, really love this version of Spider-Man. I really love how they did Peter Parker because while I enjoyed all the action set pieces and all the cool shit you can do in the game, the best moments are when they showcased Peter, and that's always been important, especially when you're playing a video game, a superhero video game. Is you got to give moments for Peter to shine, and the ending of this game, like. Just there's moments when you go to Mary Jane's apartment and start this mission, and you're hanging out and Peter's making dinner. And at this point, this Peter Parker has been Spider-Man for 8 years. He and MJ dated at one point, but they aren't together at this point. But they're working together to solve the case, the main story. And he's making dinner, and then it almost burns. So then he goes and like makes sure it's taken care of, and then he gets buzzed by the cops of like this is where this is going down, or they hear it on the police scanner, and then she looks over, and he's already in a suit, and he's like getting ready to get out the window, and she goes, "Did you just leave your clothes in my kitchen?" And he kind of just stops and he goes, "Did you want me to get that?" And then he like slowly backs into the kitchen and grabs his clothes, and she's like, "Should I just put this on the couch?" Or she's like, "Just go." And then he leaves. And it's like that little moment, and there's a lot of little moments like that. And okay, so you have the crime fighting aspect, but there's these whole like side missions of these things called research stations. And they're essentially like, because in this storyline, Harry's mom was an environmental lawyer, I think, and he wants to be an environmentalist too. So you're doing research stations, and you're getting to play as Spider-Man, but you're doing something outside of crime fighting. There's like some of it was like, oh, there's this chemical that's spilled in this river, so then you go out as Spider-Man and like swing over the lake, and it disperses the vaccine to cure these fish, and like you're just doing little things like that, and you generally actually feel like a good person when you play this game. Like if you go up to a pedestrian and you hit the punch button, Spider-Man waves at them, or he'll go like this. He'll do like a finger guns at them, and they're like, "Hey, Spidey!" You know, like, "Hey, everybody!" And it's just like fun little things like that. It's my favorite version of Peter, and I'm just really excited to see what they do in the second game. I would say if Spider-Verse didn't exist, this is the best version of Miles Morales too. And one thing I love about this is they made Peter older, so then they aged up Miles. So Miles is literally 15, like Peter was when he gets his powers. And it's such an interesting way to introduce Miles and tell a story where it's not, oh, he's from the different universe and he merged. Like, I just love the idea of organically having him exist. And
I think the first Into the Spider-Verse, I guess it was called. I think they did a masterful job of that, where Spider-Man was already a thing.
Yeah.
And then like the way they did it was great. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah, and I like how this game, and then after this you get the spin-off of Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that's his chance to shine. And like it was cool because there's a moment at that game where he's like, New York's first, because Peter goes off, and this also, Mary Jane's a journalist, so they got to go cover this. What?
It's fine. She's smart enough to be, but generally she's always been
it's different. And like I said earlier, Harry's going to be like is an environmentalist, like, so they kind of play with the lore a little bit.
I don't like it. It's fucking with canon.
I said canon. But that's a great example. I love my favorite version of Spider-Man isn't in a comic book or a movie, it's in a video game.
Well, there's no reason, as long as you keep okay.
Keep the tenants.
Perfect example, Lois Lane, right?
It's not a toy.
Lois Lane is one of Superman's best supporting characters, right?
Yeah.
And you could make her not a journalist. It's kind of stupid because that's whatever. But as long as you keep her traits intact, that she's fiercely independent, strong-willed, and just kicks ass, you could make her a nurse,
and
or you could make her an architect. You know what I mean?
They do a pretty faithful job of. Well, and that's another thing too. I really like this relationship with MJ and Peter.
That's when you get into,
it's very real. It's very grounded.
But that's when you get into that canon shit, and you're like, just calm down.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the main traits of the character alive, you can fuck with them a little bit.
And quite frankly, I wish we would have done something like this sooner with Peter and Miles being in the same universe at the same time and being like, yeah, there's two Spider-Men that exist. I don't know. And that's another reason I'm so excited for that game. It's just see how that's incorporated and how that works. But
I'm glad you like that game.
Yeah. Also, one of my favorite versions of Doc Ock in this game as well. Nothing will beat Alfred Molina, though. He's my favorite Doc Ock all time.
He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
In the beginning, that's it. Very briefly.
You throw me the idol, I throw you the rope.
And he lied. And then he got
son of a
fucking
bitch.
killed. He deserved it. Yeah. Because he betrayed Indiana Jones. You don't betray Indiana Jones. Sorry, we got ads here at the Busted Lip. I said...
He's already hit me again. He's just beat shit.
Everybody dance. Everybody knows that.
Thanks, Busted Lip House Band.
Yeah.
The Busted Hips.
That's me on the weekends.
Are you busting your hip on the weekend?
Oh, that's any time I move, really. I'm busting my hip.
There goes my back out again, damn it.
Said, hey, I blew out my back. Everybody knows that I'm hurting with my crack. And then, hey, hemorrhoids.
You might be hurting in your crack, but I'm the one smoking it. Why don't we end every episode with me talking about how much I love to smoke crack?
Damn it, man. Now
you're the one who has to fuck with
They gotta start all over again. And then you say
crack.
Crack cocaine.
See, now it's not organic. Now it's just forced. I don't like it anymore.
You're right. Shit. All right.
Well, we could, again, why don't we just end every episode? Let's just make that a running gag that I talk about how much I like to smoke crack.
Crack cocaine.
That's not funny. I'm trying to reach out to you here.
What, do you need help?
No. But just saying crack cocaine right after I talk about crack is not... You got other things on that soundboard.
Like what?
I'll drink your blood.
You do like 4 things on there. You have like 17 fucking... What else? Where's some of the other ones? Come on, what do you got? If that's what, I'll be... What? Does it not work?
Oh, it's not working.
Son of a bitch. That's why.
And that's it.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.